Hi everyone. Oh, a bit of feedback coming through here. Let's just sort that out. Hey all of you, how have you all been? Sorry about that, was just noticing something a little bit weird there. So I just sort of came to fix it. So, how have you all been? It's been a while, hasn't it? Well, I say been a while, it's been a week. Like it's always been. I guess to me it kind of feels a bit like a while because this week did go by quite slowly, because at the beginning of the week I actually me and my family actually caught a cold, as you can still hear. So I've gotten better, which is good, but as you can hear, I've got just a cough, which is the last thing that I've got to deal with this cold. So I'm going to be speaking slowly. So yeah, I'm going to be speaking very slowly, and hopefully this will be a more, what do they call it when people are whispering into the microphones and it's meant to help put people to sleep, or very quiet? I can't remember. SMR, was it, or something? There was some microphone term people use. ASMR, that is it. See, I love you guys, how you all just do this. But yeah, this will be more like a ASMR type of live stream, because if I speak louder, my throat gives in and I start to cough a lot. So let's try to keep it more quiet this time. So yeah. Okay then. I love when you guys keep calling me Captain Eric. I don't even remember how that thing came about, but it's stuck, clearly. So yeah, how are you all? Rohan says, I'm good, Eric, how are you? I'm recovering is what I am. In fact, I was even questioning if I should do this live stream originally. I was actually questioning whether I should do this live stream or if I should wait till the next day. King of the Monsters 2021, it's okay. I've read you. I didn't even know that's what the situation was. Okay, so yeah, basically I'm just gonna let you know that yes, I have been suffering from a cold the last week, so I've been very slow on the video front. Because of that, I've got some work done. I managed to finish off the Batman the Caped Crusader versus Batman the Animated Series. So I did that, and yeah, that is finished. I've just got to do the end card, I realised, though. I've got that to do. But the video itself is finished, and it's on Patreon for early access, and it's also on YouTube memberships for early access, as always. And yes, this is actually one of my new favourite Versus videos. I'm actually very impressed with the way it's turned out. So yeah, one of you commented on my Patreon version, and I haven't responded to you yet, and it's not because I didn't want to, it's because, like I said, I was unwell, and my eyes, I couldn't really look at my phone screen, so it's because of that. It actually took me a couple days to actually watch the first episode of The Penguin, because I really wasn't feeling well, so looking at the screen, my computer screen or any screen, would just hurt my eyes. So I had to delay it, and I just watched it about an hour before I got this stream started. So yeah, I saw the first episode of The Penguin, and it was amazing. It was actually better than I thought it was going to be. I had high expectations already for it, but after having seen it, it's actually surpassed my expectations. There's a lot of smart writing that goes into that, and it made me realize, more or less immediately, because we always have these MCU TV shows, so the only DC TV show we've had to compare it to was Peacemaker, which was good, but it was kind of like you see what I said? I'm not recovered. But it was kind of like James Gunn, like MCU dialogue. I mean, it was an MCU dialogue, and it kind of was, if you know what I mean. James Gunn is still very much in that area, you know, the MCU area. So him writing, it was better than the MCU writing, but there were touches of the MCU writing in there, if you get what I mean. But man, watching the Penguin show, the writing in it is so freaking good. It is so good that it makes you look at the other Marvel writing, like what's coming out with Agatha, and it really makes you look at it and think, wow, like Marvel's writing is right down here, whereas the Penguin's writing is up here. Clearly, the Penguin show has got professionals working on it, and the MCU shows don't. They have these hack for writers because their writing is so terrible. But in the Penguin, the writing is so good. In the first 10 minutes, they actually have a big thing happen, which is ultimately what sets the story for the rest of the season going. Usually you have to wait episodes, or 2 episodes, or 3 episodes, but no, you just here you get it in 10 minutes. You get the whole the big thing happen that gets the whole story going, and the way it's shot, the cinematography. Don't worry, Spirit Hero, I got my water right here. Basically, I forgot I was even watching a TV show with the Penguin, because with the Penguin, it's the way it was shot, the writing, the dialogue, even the colors of the show, it looked like a movie. So I felt like and about 40 minutes in, your mind would normally say, okay, the episode of TV should be over. But this episode's an hour long, so it kept going. And in my mind, I was like, wow, this doesn't even feel like I'm watching a TV show no more. It feels like I'm watching a movie. But then at points, it didn't even feel like I was watching a movie, because the writing and the performances felt so real. It felt like I was almost watching something that was real. And I have nothing but praise to give this show. It was so amazing. I loved that first episode. It never felt like it was slowing down. Everything felt like it was development. They introduced us to all of the characters, and seriously, guys, I was like, man, Marvel should look at this and think, what the hell are we doing? Because everyone wanted to see more Penguin, and now we're getting more Penguin, and the writing supports getting more Penguin. This is a story that is important to see. So this show feels like it's made by people that actually care about giving the audience what they want, and they're not falling prey to any of the bad storytelling that we get in the MCU, where they're trying to be very trendy, and they're trying to talk to like the social media crowd, or they're trying to talk to Gen Z crowds in terms of how hip they sound. You know, it sounds like they're trying to be cool. Like, you when an adult tries to be cool, but the kids are saying, you're not cool, so stop trying. That's what it feels like when you're watching the MCU writing, but when you're looking at this, it's like, nah, this is written by professionals, and there is a huge difference. So, yeah, I really hope the MCU take note, because, yeah, Spirit Hero, I really do hope the MCU take note, because, come on, I feel like as consumers, we should all be getting writing that is this good for TV. for TV. But we're not. Oh, Fireboy says Penguin and then Echo. I know. Echo is not even on the same level. If anything, this made me think about Daredevil, and was like, forget giving it to the MCU, give it to these writers that are doing the Penguin. I'd love to see what they could do with Daredevil. It would be so interesting. Khan says, will you be doing a binge watch on the Penguin series, Captain Eric? I don't think so. I know you guys enjoy the binge watches, but they take a long time to make. But I do want to talk about each and every single episode. As you can tell, I've just got a cold, so I can't really do it. So I will talk about the episode as it stands. I do want to talk more about that. But I don't want to... there is also something... There is a similarity, at least on paper, between... Oh, look at that. We got a Streamlabs donation. And you guys all heard that tone, didn't you, as well, this time? Let me know if you heard that ring, or if it was just me that heard it. But yeah, oh, you said yep, says Gwen. That's good that you heard it then, because last time you guys couldn't hear it. That's great. Thank you, everyone, for letting me know. Where was I? Yeah, there is similarities. I'll read that in a second, King of the Monsters. Give me a minute. Let me just say this before I start coffee again, and before I forget. I thought they were on paper. There are similarities between Agatha, the Agatha All Along show, at least the first couple of episodes, and the Penguin. There's stuff on paper that is very similar. and I'm thinking about talking about that in a future video, but I'll let you guys know who are watching the live stream. Both shows focus on the bad character. They both the characters are trying to ascend to power. Both characters also have a boy sidekick. I didn't watch Agatha, Pop Culture Fan, but I've seen reviews of it where people break down the episodes, and from what I hear, there's not really anything to spoil in the first 2 episodes. But yeah, they both have like a sidekick, a boy sidekick that is with them. And they also have like a team of other people that they're going up against, or trying to team up with. But basically, yeah, there's a lot of similarities, I thought. Except, and again, Big Bash's Agatha isn't evil. Wanda was the one who was evil. Yeah, I know that. I mean, based on paper, Agatha is supposed to be evil, and that's what it seems like. That's what it seems like they're trying to say, even though she ain't. I'm sure they're going to turn her into a hero by the end of this show. But yeah, basically, it's great. I do love what the Penguin has done. It's got tip-top writing, fantastic cinematography, and all the stuff that goes with it. Whereas all of it on the Agatha side shows you just how little they are doing with these concepts, and how much the Penguin is doing with its concepts. So yeah, it's fascinating. And by the way, Robin says, what are your thoughts on Penguin's name being changed from Oswald Cobblepot to Oz Cobb? His name is Oswald Cobb. They still kept the Oswald. I actually just watched the first episode and I was surprised. I was like, people saying he's called Oz Cobb. In the first episode, they clearly call him Oswald Cobb. So he is called Oswald. So yeah. Now, back to King of the Monsters 2021, who has done a Streamlabs chat. Like I say, if ever you can do Streamlabs chats, those are better, because all the donation goes to me that way. And it certainly worked better when last week everyone was on Streamlabs. It was so good. That was the best donation stream I think I've ever had. And it really is, because most of you tried to come over to Streamlabs, and it just worked so well. So King of the Monsters 2021 says, trying via PayPal for the first time. A quick footnote, November 3 is on a Sunday, which I told you was the 70th anniversary for Godzilla. How much would a stream review cost? King of the Monsters, you are... For those of you that don't know, King of the Monsters 2021, he has given me 2 ideas recently that I didn't even think of. He asked how much was it to do a trailer reaction, to commission a trailer reaction from me, and just now he's asking how much would a stream review cost. I've not even thought about these things, but he's made me think about them. Sorry, buddy, by the way, for not responding when you asked how much would it cost to commission a trailer reaction. As you can see, I'm ill, so I'm limited the amount of times I've been reading and responding to messages, because as you could just tell, I'm still going through it. I will respond to your message, though, so don't worry, I will respond. Josh Man says, have you realised the Penguin they did brought in Clancy Brown, the guy who played Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob? Yep, and he also played Savage in the Clone Wars as well. So yeah, great actor to bring in. He did a very good job in this episode too. I don't mind his name being... Oh, so yeah, sorry, Robin, about that part. I don't mind him being called Oswald Cobb. It's just a very small thing. I like the name Cobblepot, but it's not a huge deal, because they still call him Oswald. Most of the time they're calling him Oz or Oswald, so that's fine. The only... Blimey, I did not expect this. Oh, Sarah, hi. The only person I really want him to be call him Cobblepot is Batman, so hopefully in the movie he would call him that way. That's what I hope. But yeah, I didn't mind it. Yeah, I could see you guys reacting to my coughing. Sarah, I wanted to quickly say thank you very much for the donations last stream, and because the big donations you did through Streamlabs, last week was the best I think I've ever experienced in terms of donations on a live stream. And it really is, because you did it all through you did it through Streamlabs, and 100% of that donation went to me. So last week was the best performance I've ever had with a live stream. So thank you very much, Sarah. And hopefully when it comes to the bigger donations, you can still do those through Streamlabs. There are cool, nifty effects that will happen, depending on how much you do. But yeah, if you want to do the smaller ones on Super Chats, that's for YouTube Super Chat, that's fine. But I would recommend the bigger ones doing it on Streamlabs like you did last week. That way YouTube won't take more from you than they should, which is what they normally do. Adam Grunther, it's so great to see you here. I wish you were here earlier because I was just talking about the Penguin. And I was talking about how I feel like Agatha has similarities, at least on paper, to the Penguin. And then I talked about the writing, how the writing for like the Penguin is up here, and for like shows like Agatha or the MCU shows, it's right here. It really made me realize the writing on the Penguin, how high level it is, that they clearly hired professionals to write the Penguin, because every bit of dialogue feels like it's so meticulously crafted, whereas the writing in these MCU shows feels very wonky. Like, did you write that in like just 5 minutes or something? It feels like that wasn't a professionally written writing. So yeah, I found that interesting. And yes, Adam Grunther, it's so good to see you back on the stream again. It really is. So let's see. Yes, King of the Mon says you will get the answers later. Let's see. Joey says, will you do a trailer reaction to the recent Venom trailer? I was going to, but then this cold started, so I wasn't able to. I even said on the live stream that I'm going to, but yeah, then that happened. Okay, so yes, people, the stories are going to start. Let me just get them ready before I show you them. Okay. And for those of you that have just joined, I said I was unwell. That's why, yeah, I'm unwell. That's why you hear me coughing or talking lower at a lower volume. Adam Grunther has done a $2 super chat. And he asks a very good question. He goes, thoughts on Sophia Falcone and Penguin? I thought she was freaking amazing. Like, as soon as she comes on, she's just a blurry image in the background, and you're just staring at it, and the music slowly trembles upwards. And then when she shows up, just the way she talks, the way she stands, and they've hired an actress who's got very big eyes, and she uses those eyes to her advantage, because she just sometimes just moves her eyes. Look at this. She just moves it like that, like just a slight movement, and all of a sudden it feels like she's eyeing you from like a different direction. I'm not gonna say how for spoiler reasons, because I know some of you in the chat have not seen it. But seriously, she was so good in this, especially some of the dark stuff that she would do. So yeah, Adam Grunther, she was fantastic. So good, so freaky, and she was even, like, I like how her character can, like, just detect when Oz is full of crap, basically. And that was freaky when she does that, and it makes you, like, on the edge of your seat. So first episode, she did a really good job. I can't wait to see how they're going to utilize her. She's different from the comic book version, and I was a fan of the Sophia Falcone in the comics. She was nutty in her own way, and she was really big as well. Here they made her skinnier and very different, but I like this different version. Okay then, so, Fireboy says, Eric, what's your favourite moment in the Penguin show? It's something that happens in the first 10 minutes, because that sets up, like, basically the rest of the season. Usually in, like, for shows like this, especially MCU shows, you have to watch either the first 2 episodes or 3 episodes, and then they're like, okay, now this is what is getting the story going. But then you have to wait, like, even more episodes to see what happens. It's like, it's just a waiting game, whereas with the first episode, they establish very early on, no, this is what the story is all about. This is what starts all these messed up events, and this is where it goes. So that was amazing. So I really do love what they've done, and that opening scene really set up the whole season. Oof, yeah, I appreciate. I agree with Sarah. Don't pressure me, Jess. I'm trying to make sure that I can speak without getting my lungs to cough me up a new one. So I'm trying to take it at a certain pace. Yes, I do remember that big bash. Let's see. Thank you, Kingdom. My favorite Marvel movie, I'll say, is Logan right now. Let's see. Sam Witwicky saved Optimus in the climax, but what did Little Goblin Jr. do in Rise? Absolutely nothing. Remember what we spoke about last week, Jess? Don't always do the memes with me, because it's harder for me to actually communicate with you in this way, so a couple here and there are okay, but speak to me like you used to, like a viewer, like how all of you are. I miss that, so please do more of that. The G Gamer says, when is the Batman TV show versus video coming to YouTube? I already saw it on Patreon, I'm just curious. That will be coming... I would have liked to have said after this stream, that's what I would have wanted to say. But the cold happened, and I've not written... I've not done the bit yet where I thank my patrons, and then I do that voiceover bit. So I'm probably going to say tomorrow. Excuse me. I'm probably going to say tomorrow. The Dark Lord says, wait, we're viewers? I thought we were your mighty soldiers. Sorry, I just muted it there, because I don't think you want to hear that. Because I thought we were your mighty soldiers. You are. But I couldn't correct myself with more words, otherwise I thought I would have coughed again. I do forgive you, Jess, but just don't keep doing it. As they always say. That's cool, Jess. That's nice. Okay. Just give me a few seconds. I'm just going to... just stand up, take a few deep breaths, then I'm going to come back and we can get to the stories, okay? Some interesting stories here, especially the one regarding Disney, and it's going to be a big, big difference. That's going to have hopefully a positive impact on Disney animation going forward. So give me a second, I'll be right back, okay? Alright, I'm back. Hopefully I'll fare better. Don't worry, Con. Eric didn't leave for long. Hopefully next week he'll be a lot better, because he has been coughing a lot, but that's... Everything else has been getting better. I can now look at a screen without feeling like my head's gonna explode. Alright then. Aaron, you don't need to see Batman to understand the Penguin, but it would definitely help, because there are a lot of references in the Batman that are getting paid off here. Like who Salvatore Maroni is, and, you know, what he thinks of the whole situation. So, definitely watch the Batman if you haven't, because you will benefit a lot. But according to Matt Reeves, you don't have to see the Penguin to understand the Batman Part 2. Alright then, so... time to get into the first story of the day. Now, let me get my notes up. So, Jennifer Lee has steps down from Disney. Now, this is fantastic news. Now, this is fantastic news. For those of you who don't know who Jennifer Lee is, she is the director of Frozen. And the success of that movie really did wonders for her career. And Disney decided to put her in charge of Disney animation based off of that one movie. And for those of you that don't know, Frozen was originally going to have Elsa turn into a villain, which is expected, as she's supposed to be the Ice Queen, and the Ice Queen was always a villain. But when they did the Let It Go song, they knew it was going to be a hit song. So based off of that, I kid you not, they decided to change it midway and turn her into a good guy. Which turns out worked out for them, but that is not how you properly tell a story, isn't it? Now, once she was promoted to head of Disney Animation, the other movie she was in charge of was Frozen 2, but then it was Encanto. Now, Encanto didn't do well in the theaters, but it did incredibly well on streaming. But let's have a look here. That song is so annoying, says Jess. Encanto was amazing, says the G-Gamer. I don't doubt it. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't doubt that it's great, because on streaming it apparently blew up in terms of popularity. Now, Encanto didn't do well in theaters, like I said, but it did great on streaming. But this movie was more likely already written before she was in charge, because they were already heavy into animating it at this point. So the script was already done, the animation was already, they had found a style. So she doesn't really, I don't think she really gets credit for this particular movie. The two movies that she did have full control of from beginning, though, was Strange World and Wish. Two of the most noteworthy flops in Disney animation history. Just look at their budgets and their box office returns right here. There you go. You can see Encanto didn't do particularly well, and it had a $150 million budget, but this was during the pandemic, and of course the movie did great on streaming. But the two movies that she was in charge of was Strange World with a $135 million budget, and Wish with a $200 million budget, which I think I heard had a higher budget than that. So yeah, Strange World, on a $135 million budget, made only 70 billion worldwide. So that is a huge flop. And then Wish, which made a $200 million budget, made just about $240 million. But you got to keep in mind, in order for a studio to make money back, they usually need to make sure that the movie earns about 2.5 times more than the actual production budget. Because marketing budgets for the movies can be just as much as the film, if not more. So, yeah, the movie essentially needed to make more than double what it made, but as you can see, it didn't even make more than double. So basically, her run at the company was very, very bad in terms of Disney animation. These were just massive flops. So Disney have demoted her and are allowing her to make Frozen 3 and Frozen 4, but she does not have control over the Disney animated movies anymore. And most people, especially within Disney, are very happy about her exit. Because let's just say that the poor box office performance of these movies means that the Disney animators were not able to get bonuses. So Disney Animation has some benefit where the workers get bonuses if the movie does well at the box office. And under Jennifer Lee, these movies were not doing well. So that's years of work they put into 2 projects that resulted in no extra pay for them. So yeah, that means even people within Disney are happy that she's basically leaving. Nanimator says, the fact that Wish is supposed to be the celebration of 100 years flopped shows how much Disney has fallen. I completely agree. Oh, Jake, great to see you again, buddy. Let's see here. Now, the person that Disney have replaced Jennifer Lee with is a guy named Jared Bush. And here he is, right here. Right there. So ultimately, we'll have to see how he does. He's got cool credentials, and I'll show you that right now. This is what he's done. Here we go. So you can see some of the things that he's done. He's a screenwriter and co-director of Zootopia, which made $1 billion. He's the screenwriter for Moana, which as we all know, big movie that did incredibly well. $686 million, but it also did great on Disney Plus. So that was great. Raya and the Last Dragon, that was also the pandemic, so it didn't really make much. But I can't even remember if it was a good movie, because I've not even seen it, but I can't remember what people are saying about it. I think it was just lukewarm reviews. The movie clearly has not lasted, where people are going back to it. And then we have Encanto, which he was the director-screenwriter for. It's a story creator, so I wonder what that is. So yeah, he's basically got some interesting credentials, I would say. But I don't know if that will be enough to move Disney animation back on the right track. But that being said, I don't think it can be worse than where it was already at, so there's that at least. And it also makes me think, if Disney are cleaning house in their animation division by getting rid of Jennifer Lee, then who is next on the chopping block? All eyes are on Kathleen Kennedy. Hopefully she goes next. And here's hoping that she gets fired, not let go, but fired. Because the amount of damage that she has done to the brand of Star Wars and Lucasfilm and Indiana Jones is something that will be documented. Because it's amazing how much she was able to destroy this brand. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think it's interesting, or do you think it's good that she's stepping down and that we're having someone else? Even if we don't know how he'll do you think it's better that they've actually given us someone else instead of her? Because she was also pushing a lot of, like, the stuff that she was doing was a lot of checkboxing in terms of, like, so much different diversity stuff that none of them even, like, it fit. It's like she tried to do so much diversity in one movie that in the end it felt like no one got represented. What they need to do is find one that they want to do and pick one and delve into that. But they wanted to do so much more. It's kind of like when that leak came out about what they were going Disney Marvel were going to do with Blade. When you got a black actor who's playing Blade, that's enough. Just delve into that. But for them, that wasn't enough. They wanted 3 diverse women in there who were the main character above him and were gonna give him life lessons, basically. So they, so it's like Disney in general seem to have this problem where you should pick one thing that you want to represent in terms of diversity and delve into that. But they just seem to pick so many and say, we want to do all of them at once. And it just doesn't... You could just tell that they're not thinking of storytelling from that perspective. Cosmic Studios, it is great to have you here. The topic right now is Jennifer Lee, who is the head of Disney Animation, who has been demoted and are giving it over to someone else because she was not doing a good job. She was ultimately the one that pushed for Wish and Strange World, and look at how that turned out for the company. So, yeah. Sarah says, put a chick in it, make her gay. Pop Culture Fan says, Kennedy and her woke ideas. Thing is, Kathleen Kennedy is a prime example of someone who did not care about the Star Wars brand when she came in. She kind of wanted to just take someone else's creation, which she promised that she would keep consistent with his creation, and she wanted to completely change it and reinvent it for herself. And the small group of niche people like herself. And the movies have not done well. The fans that really liked it have not been happy. And it's a failing brand. A brand that had so much potential, but they failed with it. So yeah, she's done a very, very terrible job. Jake says, okay, last time. Did you hear about the Disney making Inside Out 2 less gay? Have you heard of the news? Yes, I have heard of the news. Did you see the thumbnail? I actually put the less gay thing there, so I will be talking about that, don't worry. So yeah. Just reading the rest of your guys' comments here. Fireboy says, after Kennedy, Kevin Feige should go next and get fired. I would have thought that they should basically tell him to basically get his shit together, but after watching the first episode of The Penguin and seeing what crap he's been delivering, yeah, maybe they should, because I feel like we could be getting top-level Marvel quality TV shows if he puts in the same amount of effort that Matt Reeves put in to, say, The Penguin show, with the people he hired, the stories he wanted telling. But clearly Feige just doesn't care. He probably says he does, but it seems like he's just too set in his ways where he's not getting better. So yeah, get rid of him at this point. The G-Gamer I did back in the day, but I didn't watch them. It's been a while, so I don't know, I should go back to those and take a look, see what they're saying now. But yeah. I agree, Khan. Matt Reeves is doing a phenomenal job with his universe. Alright then. Okay. Let's do... Source Fear says, we love you, Eric. Oh, I love you guys too. Yes, Khan, we'll go do the next story in a second. I'm just deciding which story should I do next. I've not... Because, as you can tell, I'm ill. I've not ordered them in a particular way this time. Even though it might seem so in the thumbnail. Okay. Alright then, let's talk about the big thing. Shall we talk about the story for Inside Out 2? Let's just get this ready. Alright, Inside Out 2. Now, a little interesting thing came out about Inside Out 2. We know this movie is super successful. I think it's the most successful movie of the year. Last I checked it, I think it made like $1.6 billion worldwide. That is insane. And one of those reasons, I would say, is because this feels like the most uncontroversial Disney movie that has been made in years, in terms of Disney animation. There is nothing in this that you could perceive as controversial. I even said that in my, I think it was my Versus video, I said that. So yeah, this movie did incredibly well in the box office, and I did say in my Versus video that there is one thing. I said that this movie has no controversial subject matters, and I said they could have though. And there was actually moments in here where I was like, yes, they definitely could have gone controversial. And it was with Riley. I was thinking, are they trying to make Riley all of a sudden say that she's a lesbian? Because in the first one, she had that dream boy in her head, didn't she? Who was like, I will die for Riley. But then in the second one, I was like, knowing Disney, are they going to try to change that? And thankfully, they didn't. But I said, I know that they could have, though, and I wouldn't be surprised if they originally did. And, well, then this article came out. The article says Disney insiders say that leadership pushed to make Inside Out 2 less gay after Lightyear same-sex kiss. So yeah, basically, because of that same-sex kiss scene that was in the Lightyear movie, apparently they wanted to take that scene out, but because of people who work at the industry who were going through... I was gonna say riots, but that's not the word. It was, what's the word? I just forgot the word. But they basically went on some kind of strike, essentially, to basically stand up for their rights and all that. So that's what they were doing, and because of that, Disney had to put the scene back in. And they did it, and the scene got a lot of controversy. Now, I think the reason it got a lot of controversy is because they ambushed parents with it, because they did not put it in the trailers. That's one thing you'll notice when it comes to Disney. They're scared to put this stuff in the marketing because excuse me guys, I'm so sorry for that. They hide it from the marketing because they know parents will not like it, but then they just ambush it on parents who actually do go to the theaters. So I knew that was not going to be a good thing. So yes, this I would say this is not the only thing. This is not the only thing that caused this movie to fail. The Lightyear movie. I'd say it's one of the many things that caused it to fail, but it's not the only thing. That being said, it was definitely a thing. So the bottom line, the thing that you need to take away from this is the thing you got to take away from this is that what I've always been saying is Disney don't care. They don't have any morals. They don't care about, oh, is it the like diverse groups? And that's all of Hollywood. They say they care, but that's because they want to come across like, yeah, we're good people, and also because they think that's where the money is. For some weird, bizarre reason, they think that is where the money is. But then they find out, no, it's not where the money is, and now they're pulling out. They're saying, yeah, well, look how much money Lightyear made when we went with that scene, and look at how much money Inside Out 2 made when we didn't go with that scene. And quite frankly, that's Disney's target audience, internationally, worldwide, are families. And if there are families like outside of Western society who don't like that kind of thing, then yeah, they're going to get turned off by it too. In fact, I've actually heard there are warning signs in international territories that say, warning, there are Western ideologies in this movie. And that's enough to put people off. And apparently people in international countries are watching a lot more of DreamWorks because DreamWorks are watching Disney and they know that Disney have lost a big chunk of their audience. So who do you think has been trying to pull that audience in? It's been DreamWorks with their Despicable Me movies, their Minion movies, their Puss in Boots 2 movie, and also they're trying to pull them in now with the live-action remake of How to Train Your Dragon next year. So, I apologize for that. So yeah, basically it is a business at the end of the day, and a bigger bigger audiences that actually watch these movies are just your normal, average, ordinary sort of like family members. And yeah, there's going to be families that are fine with it, but then there are going to be families that are not, or they would at least like to talk to their kids about it themselves, but then Disney are already talking about it in their movies, and that's the thing that parents are not happy with. That's the thing that parents are just not happy with. So yeah, they've basically pulled back and look at the results. So I think now there's people that are annoyed with this, but honestly, I think Disney, because they are actually in a very bad financial rut. 2023 was nothing but flops, with the occasional, I think it was 1 or 2 movies that did good. I think it was one Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that did great, and then it was one Elemental that just broke even, or just got past the broke-even point. So yeah, ultimately, the one that's winning through all of this was Disney's original method of storytelling. Who would have known? So yeah, I think now that they've seen this, they're going to try to continue with it. And to those that are annoyed about it, it's kind of what people always say, is that if you wanted it to do well, that you had to go see those movies. Jake says, though it is just a 5-second kiss, that is barely visible. I agree with you, it is barely visible, but at the same time, I think a big reason why they didn't like it is that they were ambushed with it. It was not in any of the marketing material, which shows you that Disney were not confident with advertising it and saying, yeah, this is what we got in the movie. So they hid it. And then when people went in who would like to know that ahead of time, they got ambushed, and that is trust that has been taken away. If people within Western society are not into this kind of thing and have problems with it, then how do you think people outside of Western society are going to feel about it? They'll definitely not be on board with it. And that's the thing, Disney, usually its success relies on, worldwide sort of like admiration and love for their movies. So if you pull that out, if you put stuff like that in, which is considered controversial internationally, that's going to have a hit on their movies and on their reputation internationally. So that's the problem. I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the reality of the situation. And it's known. And Disney know about it now too. I think they should have known about it years ago, because a lot of other companies were like noticing it, and they were like, okay, if we do it, we got to do it this way or this way. But Disney were still at it in their old ways. Jake says Lightyear is rated 16 plus in one country. See? I can't imagine why. We don't see any tongue action, Jake, to put it in one way. But that's not the point. To them, like I said, there are certain warnings in certain countries saying that Western ideologies are in this film. So it's more about the ideology, which they don't agree with. And we all know certain countries don't like certain ideologies of anything going in there. Like in China, they don't like this kind of thing, but they also don't like a thing to do with ghosts. They don't like. They've got a thing that goes on about that. So it really comes down to censors internationally, and Disney has basically made its empire and its brand out of international love and admiration, but they took a hit from their international audiences. And the box office numbers we've seen shows they took a hit in many other ways too. So yeah, that's what all I have to say about the whole no gay thing in this movie. Riley was never a gay character to begin with, so that's one thing. So them making her gay to me would have been just them forcing it like they do when they try to put something in and just say, oh no, this character's gay now or something. That's what it would have seemed like. So I don't think this is as big an issue, because Riley never was gay, at least how they introduced her. So them changing it, we know what that would have meant. It would have meant they were going to try to pander, because Disney, like I said, everyone said they love their pats on the back. But with this movie, you can't argue with the results. No parents complained, no one complained. This was classic Disney. I did my versus video of the first and second movie, and I didn't like the second movie as much, but I still acknowledge this was more of a return to form in terms of, you know, the decisions they decided to make. So yeah. But yeah, with that said, that's not the main story that I actually wanted to talk about with this. The main story is that there is actually an article going around of Pixar mistreating its workers, its animators, for Inside Out 2. Sarah, I actually agree with you on that. I don't like when... It's like, if you're going to tell... If you want somebody to be in the movie, then you got to make damn well sure that you tell them. Especially if it's a situation that is considered controversial, you got to let your customers know what they're getting into. There is no spoiler if they put that scene in the trailer, but they didn't because they knew certain people would not be on board with it, and they tried to ambush them at the last second, and that, I think, is just dirty, what they did there. Anyway. Yeah, now this movie, apparently, there are animators that were not treated well with this movie. And it was actually reported to IGN, of all places. They actually said, they described it to IGN as the largest crunch in the studio's history, with a second source stating it was an all-hands-on-deck studio emergency. Another source says, this had a damaging impact on demands placed on employees, alleging they were working long hours for months on end. And it keeps getting worse. One of the workers at Disney said, I think for a month or two, the animators were working 7 days a week, they claimed. Ridiculous amounts of production workers, just people being tossed into jobs they'd never really done before. It was horrendous. The internal culture of Pixar right now is really rough, a further source said, adding that this may be prompting other employees to leave the company. There is just an incredible amount of people who are like, I can't do this anymore. Other former employees claimed to IGN that the reported 7 days a week work schedule was further complicated by bad leadership, poor communication, inefficient management structures, and a lack of trust, damaging the company's culture. It was rushed work, paranoid leadership, mixed messaging, one source told IGN. The same individual even claimed that the emotional and psychological toll impacted their physical health. You're just working 24/7, and so after a while, your body just starts breaking down. They also talk about the health benefits and how those are good, but in the end, it's just no good anyway, because these health problems are coming on because of their intense crunch culture. Now, I'm going to say one thing. I bet you We are going to hear stories about this from animators for Moana 2, which is coming out in a few months. Because that movie is also being incredibly rushed. I would say even more than Inside Out 2. Because Moana 2 was intended to be a few episodes of a Disney Plus streaming series, but then at the last minute, Disney told their workers to quickly rework it to a big feature, and you have 1 year to do so. So yeah, it's a shame that we keep hearing these stories, and I don't think they're going to stop anytime soon, which is a shame. But yeah, I'm telling you guys, I do think that Moana 2 is going to have much more stories of this, because they decided to actually make that. It was going to be a streaming service, like I said, on Disney Plus, but at the last second, like a year in advance, they says, yeah, how about we turn it into a movie instead for theatrical release. The only thing that Disney will see from all of this is, so from this situation, Inside Out 2 being a success, the only thing that Disney will see from all this is, oh, so the animators can make an animated movie in half the time. Slackers, let's get them to do it again and again. So that's what I think is going to happen. Fireboy says, I feel sorry for the animators. I agree, I feel sorry for them too. Now, I remember when I was a kid, I always thought it would be so cool to be an animator. Boy, was I wrong. I mean, it's a cool skill, definitely, but it's definitely a cool skill. But the studios just take it for granted, and will treat you like shit and underpay you for your efforts. And they will keep most of the money for themselves, or invest it in The Acolyte, or some show that no one wanted, like Agatha all along. Oh, so yeah, it's... Big Bash is right, it is so sad. Robin said, I actually wanted to go to college for animation. Thank God I'm not. Yeah, I know. It's just embarrassing. They just take them for granted completely. So what do you guys think of this whole situation? Oh yeah, Spirit Hero, that was another thing. Their bonuses weren't given to them. And the movie, look how much the movie made. The movie made $1.6 billion. I think it's still making more, and it's going to make a heck of a lot more on PVOD sales. And despite the animators being, working... Basically, if it wasn't for the animators, this movie wouldn't exist. And they're basically not paying them. They're ripping them off, basically. So yeah, Disney are one of the worst when it comes to this. Dark Lord is like, why? Just why? Rohan says, I feel bad for the animators. Hollywood studios are just the worst. Yeah, they are. Jess says, this is reminding me of the Spider-Verse animators. Yes, it does. Khan says, I think this is horrible and awful, and studios should be held accountable for their actions and be paid a heavy fine for how much damage they cost to the team. Yeah, exactly, I agree. So yeah, again, even the Spider-Verse people are going through, like crunch culture as well, which is really sad to hear. Big Bash says, these employees deserve a raise. They do, but Disney just don't care about them. These a lot of these people that basically sit on their ass, probably have nothing to do with this movie, are going to get a big paycheck for it. And they're not going to complain about that. Jigsaw says, have you seen a Dogman movie teaser? I haven't. Spirit Hero says, it's sad that someone's big dreams, like being an animator, are crushed by corporate. Yeah, exactly. Robin says, first Marvel, then Sony, and now Pixar. Yeah, exactly. Don't be surprised if all the studios are basically doing it. Yeah. Big Bash says, animation should be respected. It should, because without these animators, you don't get any of these movies, do you? So, yeah, it's just... It is painful to hear, and it's like, how could you be so heartless? You think Disney would at least want to have a better reputation than that, but in terms of money, they're just greedy. Gwen says animation is a medium, not a genre. Yeah, it is. I agree with you. Okay then, so has anyone got any more questions about this, or shall we move on to the final story and then get to the Q&A? I agree, Khan. They are greedy. That. Big Bash says Mickey Mouse from South Park is current Disney. Yeah, the South Park guy should make something about Mickey Mouse not wanting to give animators their bonuses. That would be a funny little bit, wouldn't it? Five Voices move to the next story. Gwen says Ben 10 time. With a name like Gwen, it doesn't surprise me that you're saying Ben 10 time. Alright then. Khan says, let's move on to the final story. I'm getting pissed off already. Yeah, let's move on to a more... what could be considered a happier note. The story about Ben 10. Now, let's make this bigger right here. Alright, so, apparently Warner Brothers has cancelled plans for a live-action Ben 10 movie. Now I'm going to tell you, I didn't even know a live-action Ben 10 movie was intended to be made. I saw fan castings go around, but that was really about it. So you can imagine my surprise when I came upon this article. And also, about 7 months ago, we talked about the creator wanting to make a more adult animated show. And that was the most recent development about the show that I had. That was the most recent development about this show that I had. I didn't know anything about a movie. Here, let's load up the other article. This was the movie that ended up being made. The live action one on Cartoon Network. It was better than the first one when he was 10, but it still wasn't great. Now, I gotta say... I gotta say... When this news came around, I was honestly glad that it got cancelled. Because I don't trust that they will honor this show in the right way and treat it right. And all the ideas of casting Tom Holland was absolutely ridiculous to me. And I actually could have seen them doing it as well. Here. Pictures of Ben 10 right here and his friends. Well, his cousin Gwen and Kevin. So, yeah, if they cast Tom Holland, that would have been bad. Because at that point, we wouldn't have seen Ben Tennyson, we would have just seen Tom Holland. So I'm glad the movie didn't go forward because I didn't have any faith in them. And I didn't want to see Tom Holland in the role either, so... Excuse me. Ben 10 was very much a product of the 2000s, and movies nowadays are too modern to do it justice in my opinion. Everything from the filmmaking, to the style of humor now, to the newer form of storytelling... I really don't think it would have worked to have been authentic to what Ben 10 was, in my opinion. It would have lacked that special sauce that made it what it was, which cartoon shows back in the day always had, but they don't seem to now, most of them. So yeah, I don't mind that they cancelled this, if anything. I'm just happy that it's not going to get made. I mean, they would have had to do all these aliens, which would have been interesting, but I just don't trust them really with it, so... I think Ben 10 is best left where it was. If ever I wanted to see something of it, it would be the animated show continue or something, but I don't know. I think they kind of like... They ran Ben 10 into the ground, let's put it that way, and with Alien Force Season 2, that's where, when that ended, that was the best of Ben 10. After that, with Season 3 onwards, I think they just they just started to get bad. Yeah. Skyzer says, we've seen 2 terrible Last Airbender adaptations. I don't need a terrible Ben 10 adaptation. I agree. This would have been probably the second worst Ben 10 adaptation, because remember, we got those those live-action movies all those years ago. Race Against Time and that other one, Alien Swarm. Supersonic, we are on the 3rd story, so yes, you've missed the other stories. So yeah. So yeah, what do you guys think of this? Are you guys happy that they ended it, or what? Oh, Sarah says she thought Turning Red was fun. It was a fun movie, not that big of a deal. I've not seen Turning Red, but I remember, Sarah, that it did have a controversy around it. You still there, Sarah? I don't know if you heard me answer your question just there. The G-Gamer says, my name is Ben and I'm the Avatar. Khan says, I'm just really getting tired of Tom Holland at this point. He's a good actor, but oh my god, stop overcasting the man. I mean, Pedro Pascal is getting for being... Pedro Pascal is getting... Yeah, he's also being overcast a lot lately, isn't he? Yeah, I'm glad too, Rohan, that it got cancelled, yeah. Yeah, Chris Pratt is also. That Garfield movie really had it happen. And now even Jack Black is being overcast as well. Harsher Critical says, who would you want to play Ben 10 in a live-action movie? Someone new. Someone who can be defined by the role, where people will always connect him to this role. I don't want any other actor, kid actor, that they associate with something else, because then you wouldn't be able to see Ben 10 in them. So you'd want someone new. Jess says Kumail Nanjiani as Ben 10. Heck no. Yeah, Awkwafina is, and so is Kumail Nanjiani. Big Betters, it's a shame we never got a Ben 10,000 show. Wow, that actually would have been interesting, wouldn't it? Not the crappy Ben 10,000 we got in Alien Force, but the Ben 10,000 that we got in the original Ben 10 show. That would have been much better. Supersonic says, by the way, what do you think of Transformers 1? I wanted to watch it and review it for you guys as a surprise, but I said this on the last stream. It turns out the movie's not coming out in the UK until October, so... Yeah, I don't think I'll be reviewing it, because then I'll be covering Joker at that point, won't I? We'll see what happens. Jess did not like Transformers 1, it seems. Yeah, well, I'll have to see it. Big Bash says, Eric, there's a Ben 10 fan series called Ben 10 5 Years Later, and it is set after Omniverse. I think you'll like it. Okay, was it called Ben 10 5 Years Later? Is that what it's called? Let's see here. Ben 10 5 Years Later. Fan... Okay, I'll take a look. I'll look into it. Let's see. Sarah says, I think it would be fun to see a live-action Ben 10, but they would butcher it. It's sad to see that everybody just has no hopes for new stuff anymore. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I do agree with you, but yeah, I agree. At the same time, I agree with what you said about them butchering Ben 10. Yeah, they would butcher it. Because it's like they just don't know or just don't have respect for that generation of storytelling. I think they're not as good as it that way. Yes, I have Critical. I have watched the Batman the Cape Crusader show. I got a Versus video on my Patreon right now that you can watch as part of early access, or if you want to wait for it to come to YouTube, it'll come to YouTube in the next few days. Let's see. Who says, Jake says, by the way, Warner Brothers is failing us. I would say so, but I just watched that first episode of Penguin, which was amazing, so I'd say they've got some good stuff in the tank. Robin says, I think Warner Brothers just hate money. On the contrary, they like money, but they just try to get money in a lot of these lazy ways. Jake says, a new Ben 10 would probably miss everything about what made the original series good. I agree. It's like they would just try to make it more modern, or they would try to make it more like a modern MCU type of of movie rather than the Ben 10 kind that it was on Saturday morning cartoons that we used to watch. Oh, hi, King Alex. Is there a new Ben 10 comic in development? Yes, Cameron, I do miss Cartoon Network's golden age. Alright, have you got anything else to say about Ben 10? If not, we can move on to the Q&A. I know Cartoon Network is dead. Yeah, what a time it was when it wasn't. Billy and Mandy is the best, says Jess. Oh, I love that show as well. Sourcefear says, I didn't realize how popular Ben 10 is, lol. Ben 10 back in the day was hugely popular. It was like the biggest thing at the time. I need to watch the Blair Witch movie again to know what my thoughts are on it now, but at the time I remember I really didn't like it. I like the Blair Witch, the third movie that came out, the most recent Blair Witch. I liked that. I thought that was good. I did enjoy that, actually. I was surprised how much I did. Okay then, Q&A time, everyone. You can start asking your questions, and I'll start answering them. Jake says, yeah, tons of merchandise, toys, video games, and series. Yeah, I've even got some of the Ben 10 video games. Hold on. I might have showed these to you before. I cannot remember. Here you go. These I actually got back in the day. This is Ben 10 Protector of Earth, Ben 10 Alien Force, and Ben 10 Alien Force Vilgax Attacks. I've still got my copies from back in the day. Some of my earlier videos were about these games, I remember. Some of my earlier videos. So yeah, I loved these growing up. Yeah, the Dark Lord, he says, you hold priceless relics. Not only that, but they're still in great condition and everything, so I've really looked after them. Adam Grunther has given a $2 super chat and has asked, Nicholson Joker or DeVito Penguin, who is better? That's a good question. Oh, Sarah, that's so sad that we're not going to see you here. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll catch you very soon. Thanks for joining the stream. I'll catch you next time. Take care, Sarah. You used to ask such good questions, too. So, yeah, hopefully next week I'll see you again. Okay, I don't know. Let's see. Nicholson Joker or DeVito Penguin? I'll say Nicholson Joker. I love DeVito Penguin, you know. But Joker, it was interesting to see like a big actor like Jack Nicholson play Joker. He did such a great job. And the Penguin was really good as well, but I think he was too gross. They tried to make him a bit sympathetic, especially with his death at the end of the movie with the music. But he was too gross of a character and too evil with his intentions that I think that didn't really hit. So I would say because of that, Jack Nicholson's Joker. Those aren't even older video games, by the way, Skies of Wilhelm. Those aren't even older games. There was another one that came out, but it looked crap, so I didn't buy it. But these were the three good ones. Yeah, Big Bash, they aged well. There's also a lot of nostalgia on for me as well, and they're good beat 'em up games. Although I've downloaded the PS2 versions of those Ben 10 games on my Steam Deck, so I've got better versions of them now. But I still really enjoy the PSP versions. Very nostalgic. And that was like proper PlayStation 2 games on a portable, that was. Oh, got another $2 super chat, it seems, from Adam Grunther saying... Write it down first. Another $2 donation where he says, favorite Nicholson Joker scene. My favorite scene of him is actually when he says I'm melting, and then because there's quite a few good bits in there. He goes I'm melting, and then when he goes like shows his face and he goes boo, and he does that cool laugh. Then when Batman breaks through the skylight and he looks up, that was cool. The look on his face when Batman put his weapon in front of his face. And then just the very following bit when he goes, where does he get those wonderful toys? Like, so much little cool bits in that one moment, so I'd say that. Jake says, favourite Tim Burton movie, at least favourite, besides Batman films or remakes he's done. I was going to say Nightmare Before Christmas, but that's not technically his directed movie. It was another director that did that. The guy that made Coraline made that. So what was Burton's other movie? Edward Scissorhands. That's favorite one he's my favorite one he's done. Adam says, my favorite scene is when he kills the mob bosses. I audibly said Jesus when he threw the pen at the guy's neck. That was also a cool scene, yeah. It was a freaky scene as well. It was one of those more scarier performances in the movie. Where did Khan's question go? He goes, do you still not like Justice League action? Have your opinions changed on it? Did you find the show later on good? What are your thoughts on it as of now? I stopped watching that show after I did that video. I was like, this is not the show I thought it was going to be. It's too kiddie for me. And then later on, it did get very weird when they had Mark Hamill, like Joker kidnapped Mark Hamill and all that. It got very weird. I was like, yeah. When that clip surfaced on the internet, I was like, yeah, I did a very good job just quitting this show. It was just really not what I was looking for. Yes, Cole, this is the Q&A session. Fireboy, so I have to go. Bye-bye. Take care, Fireboy. Jake says, by the way, what's the best Netflix movie? There's too many movies on there. I did watch a movie on Netflix recently, and it was called... was it The Killer? David Fincher's recent movie? That was good, but maybe the best one, was it called Hush? Not the Batman character. It was called Hush on Netflix. That was actually a very good movie about a woman that could not hear. She was deaf, and it was a movie where she had to... it was like a home invasion movie that she had to survive, which was cool. So I'd say that. Connor says, also, what's up? What up, Eric? Well, I'm recovering from a cold, as you can probably tell. Harshly Critical says, have you watched Enola Holmes 2? I did just recently, about a couple weeks ago. For the first time I saw it, a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. It was fun, but I did see right through the twist that they were doing with the gender bend. I was like, they're gender bending here, aren't they? And they did. Because I was like, they showed a memory and they were saying, see, this person was here every time. But I was like, yeah, but the woman was there too every time in these flashbacks. So maybe she was Moriarty, and she was. It's funny how they think these gender bends are so smart, and you can't predict them. That makes it different. And I'm like, no, I actually predicted it, because it felt like that's exactly what you would do. And guess what? They did, and it wasn't smart. Matthew, I haven't seen Whiplash in a long time, so I don't know if I can give it a score out of 10 right now. Big Bash, I'll have to check it later. I mean, unless you sent it through a Streamlabs chat, then I'll put it on the chat, or on the live stream, but if you haven't, probably not. Let me see. Oh, would you look at that? I got a Xander Brooks, who has become a new patron member. Let's put his name here. Xander Brooks. Yes, I do have a gold supersonic. There we go, Xander Brooks. He became a new patron just now, so yeah. I don't know if he's in the chat right now watching on the live stream, but if he is, there you go. If, like I say, if ever you become new patron members during a live stream, I'll put your name on here, and it will stay there on this particular live stream video for forever, basically. Oh, Harshly Critical says that's me. Oh, cool. Do you want me to keep that name there, or do you want me to put your Harshly Critical there? Yeah, if you want me to put Harshly Critical there, I'll actually change it if you want me to. Put Harshly Critical. Okay, no problem. Harshly Critical. There we oh, there you go. Robin, I couldn't really get into Lighthouse. It was a bit too kooky for me. Jake says, by the way, what's a movie you saw recently? A movie I saw recently? I watched Trap recently, the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Good setup and stuff, but man, that final third of the movie got crazy. Shyamalan just doing so many things. He's got his weird writing, and the characters act weird. I got annoyed with him in this movie. I was like, dude, seriously, people have been making fun of your weird directing and writing, and you're still doing it, like, even worse here. It's like he just doesn't stop. So yeah, I really hope that someone could just basically tell it to him now, because I think he was crossing a line with how weird his actors were acting here, how weird their dialogue was. It was pathetic. Like, seriously, his writing got so bad. Supersonic says, can you do Wreck-It Ralph versus Ralph Breaks the Internet? I was actually going to, I remember, but then I didn't do it in the end. This was back in the day. I can't remember if it's because I had another versus video to work on, or I just didn't care to do it. But yeah, Wreck-It Ralph 2, it doesn't come close to the first one. It really doesn't. It was just a heartless sequel in my eyes. Some funny bits in it, but it wasn't a great movie. There was nothing special in the end. And the main character, that little girl in there, whose name I can't remember because I haven't seen the movie in a long time, she really annoyed me as well in the film. Oh, hey, Classic Brickman, good to see you here, bud. You were saying earlier you probably wouldn't be able to join, but I'm glad you are able to. Harsher Critical says, do you think Frozen 3 and 4 will be better than Frozen 2? Hopefully it will be. The G-Gamer says, as someone who liked Wreck-It Ralph 2, the first one was better by a country mile. Yeah, here's the thing. I did like Wreck-It Ralph 2 the first time I saw it, but then it was like, as you ponder and think about it, it starts to get worse in your head. That's what I think. And the Disney princess is acting so weird and feminist. Like at the very end when they say, "Hey, come on, girls, there's a big strong man that needs rescuing." The way they said that, I didn't mind it very much the first time they said it, but the way they said it then that second time, I was like, okay, now you're just running that joke into the ground. It didn't even seem natural there, and it makes them just seem weird. Wreck-It Ralph 2 is dated, says Big Bang. Yeah, it is dated already. And the first movie is not, so that tells you something. Supersonic says, and Ralph was reduced to a big freaking idiot. Yes, he was. He was reduced to a big freaking idiot. But so was that Penelope, who one of you told me. Thank you for reminding me of her name. I think that was her name, yeah. And she, I feel like, was just... They tried to make it seem like Ralph had a nerve to do something, but I was like... He did something for her this whole movie, and then he's waiting for her to come back so they can talk, and she just leaves him there, where he's like, okay, what do I do now? I thought it was just bad. I thought she came across very unlikable. And we got a $5 super chat from Jess, who says, "Hey Eric, how do you feel about Michael Bay directing the Skibbity Toilet movie?" The Skibbity Toilet movie, which is what is next? Sony Spidey movie next year from Avi Arad. Shrek 5 is hype. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Shrek 5. Avi Arad directing, don't give him any ideas. Michael Bay directed the Skibbity Toilet movie. It's such a stupid thing. I don't get it. I really don't. I wouldn't be surprised if that movie gets cancelled, you know. It just sounds like, who would want that? Especially in this day and age where they're trying to be more careful about what movies they greenlight. I feel like that one sounds like it must get cancelled at some point. Thoughts on Toy Story 5, says Jake. I don't really have much thoughts on it. Yeah, I don't really have much thoughts on it right now. I said I did like the idea, the concept that is kind of going to be talking about the toys and how kids are now not playing with toys but on their tech devices and tablets and stuff. I thought that's an interesting conversation point to have. That's about it. We don't know much more about it, I think, so I need to hear more about it or see a trailer or something. You just got out of Comic-Con. Is it Comic-Con right now? Jake says also, I hope it does get cancelled. Internet-based movies always fail, no exceptions. Oh, interesting. See you later, Supersonic Adventures. I appreciate it. New York Comic-Con. Let's see, is there a New York Comic-Con going on? Because usually when Comic-Con goes on... Usually when a Comic-Con goes on, you see... footage of it on YouTube, like whatever they're announcing. Yeah, let's see. Who is the worst director I've ever seen, says Khan. I'd say probably Uwe Boll. He is a really bad one, isn't he? Jess has given another super chat. Thank you, Jess, who says, which anime do you like? Mine is Naruto and PPG. Powerpuff Girls? Is that what PPG is? My favorite anime. I like Yu-Gi-Oh! I did like Pokemon growing up. Not anymore, though. So Yu-Gi-Oh! The original show. Death Note. We're watching Demon Slayer, me and my brothers. I haven't seen season 4 yet. I need to see that. And yeah, those are animes that immediately come to my head that I'm like, yep, I really like those. Has anyone here seen the Dogman trailer, says Classic Brickman? I have not. Let me look this up. Dogman trailer. This is from a year ago, it says. Why are some people in the chat talking about the Dogman trailer as if it's something recent? This is from a year ago. No, Khan, I still haven't seen The Boys Season 4. That's another thing I also have to see. I don't know, The Penguin makes me think I might get bored of The Boys Season 4, because I heard some people say The Boys Season 4 seems a bit more like padding or filler, which, if that is the case, and I heard some people were not as fond of this season, makes me think, is Penguin like the next thing that will kind of like, you know, get my interest? Well, really, Big Bash. Okay, I'll check it out at some point. Guys, I'm gonna end this stream in... what time are we at? Maybe 4 minutes? Let's give you 5. 4 minutes would have been 1 hour 30 minutes exactly. Let's do it 5 minutes. Because, yes, I have seen the South Park episode, The Dark Lord, it was funny. But yeah, I'm gonna give it 5 minutes because I've been struggling throughout this entire thing not to cough at everything, and I have been coughing, pretty out coughing. I'm still not feeling well, as you can tell, and I'm... I think I best take the time to recover. Maybe have some green tea with some honey in it or something. And hopefully next week I'll be back to full health. But I was actually seriously considering cancelling this stream for today because of that and doing it next week. But at least this way I gave you, hopefully, an entertaining stream this week where we covered some stories and I was able to answer some of your questions rather than give you nothing. I can't see Transformers 1 yet because in the UK here, it doesn't come out until October. So, I was going to do it as a surprise for you guys, do a quick movie review of it and watch it. When I looked into it, it turns out it did not come out for us in the UK. So, yeah, for us, it came out in, it comes out to next month. And next month is Joker month, so I'm gonna have to be covering Joker. So, yeah, I don't think I can right now. Jake says, by the way, sorry, don't have a whole lot to say right now. Not much exciting has happened recently. Are you talking about with movie news and stuff, do you mean? Yeah, not too much exciting has happened recently. I'd say the most exciting is the Penguin show coming out. Harshly Critical says, have you seen the Winnie the Pooh public domain horror films? I actually have, you know. Yeah, I have. They got good concepts and ideas, but they just don't do anything with them is the big problem, I think. I wish they could do more with them. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't look at that yet. Skyzer says, Transformers 1 lost to Beetlejuice, which was on its 3rd week. Ouch. Yeah, ouch indeed. Wow. That's just unlucky timing, probably. The Dark Lord says, all hail the captain. All hail to you guys as well. Jake says, have you seen Beetlejuice 2 yet, by the way? I did. I watched it the first day it came out. I actually enjoyed it. I'll say that. I am planning to do a versus video between the first movie. We'll see if I can get that done, because I have to get that done and Puss in Boots 1 versus 2 done before Joker 2 comes out. But this cold has really delayed my stuff, which is unfortunate, because I was working on both of those, as well as this Batman versus video, which is going to come out soon. And then this cold just came into the picture. Favorite movie of the year so far, says Cole. I don't really know. I can't remember movies this year, so that says a lot right there. Movies in 2024. I'm sure there's one I'm not thinking about. You guys write a bunch of names down. What do you think I liked this year? Did I mention any of them in my videos this year? Oh, Deadpool Wolverine is a good one. I'll put that on the list. I remember enjoying Abigail. Abigail was a very good one. I'll put that on the list so far. I haven't seen Furiosa yet. Oh. Megamind 2. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't joke with you guys about that. Not much has come out this year, has it? Is it just me or has not much come out? Let's see. People are saying Kingdom. Quiet Place Day 1 was good. That was fun. Bad Boys 4. I've not even seen Bad Boys 3 yet, so I haven't seen 4. I still haven't seen Dune Part 2. Did that come out this year? That was last year. Was that this year? That was this year, wasn't it? They delayed it to this year. So yeah, I need to watch Jess says screw Megamind 2. I know, I'm just kidding. The finale of The Bad Batch says Pop Culture Fan. I won't do that again, but yeah, that was a fun final season, that was. Challengers says Jake. I heard a lot of people didn't like that, I think. Is that the one Zendaya in it? I think people said it was okay, is what I heard. But yeah, I do need to watch Doom Part 2. But yeah. Has it been 5 minutes yet? Young Sheldon did end this year, Brickman. That was a very good show as well. Beautiful ending. Tragic as well, heck. Yeah, G-Gamer, because of you, I'll be watching Megamind 2, everyone's favourite sequel. But I will be treating myself to the first Megamind before I see the second one, so that way I can have a more fresh perspective and I can properly compare the second one and, you know, approach it from that perspective. Yes, they did, Deadwolf, make Buzz into an a-hole in the Lightyear movie. I made clear of that as well. They made him useless as well. Megamind 2 is a certified hood classic. Not. Yep. Skyzer says, I think DreamWorks is apologizing for Megamind with the wild robot. Do you think so? The wild robot. Was this being made by a studio that made something with them before? Is it? Connor says, I'm worried for Eric now. What? Is it because I'm unwell? Let's see. Is this the movie that was made by a certain studio that had great animation in their previous movies? I remember hearing that. Or was that a different movie? But the animation does look nice in this. Beautiful. The Wild Robot looks good, and it's releasing on Friday this week. I might go watch it. Wow, is it in the cinema this week? I've not heard any marketing for it. But yeah, clearly I'm not going anywhere this week until I get better, that is. You know, Mandy and Gorge's first marriage is coming out soon. I don't know. I didn't know. Alright. Yeah, can't imagine. Time Shadow says, are you okay, Eric? I am okay, but I'm still recovering from a cold, which I've had this whole week, which is why I might have been slower in certain things on this channel because of that. Yes, Connor, I will be watching Megamind 2 because this G-Gamer that got me to commissioned it, so I have to. If you too want to commission terrible movies for me to see, then head on over to Patreon. I like how the G-Gamer says, he has to, I already paid for it on Patreon. I will. Oh, that's nice, Big Bash. Big Bash says, I hope you recover, Eric. You're an amazing person, and you deserve the best. Thanks very much. Right now, I'm just trying to rest. And I'll get that Batman video up for you guys. Get that Batman versus video up for you guys. And then when I recover, I can start watching Megamind 2 and all that stuff. That was one thing which was actually kind of annoying when I was watching Penguin. I had to rewind it a couple times because I was coughing. I was hoping the cough would go, then I could watch it. And it did go, but then it came back as I started watching it, which was annoying. Jess, I've seen what happens on cons through people's videos on YouTube when they give them back credit cards, but yeah. Okay then, guys, I think this has been more than 5 minutes. I'll just let you know right now, because I haven't done it yet, but if you want your name to be put in the Patreon credits of the Batman Cape Crusader Versus video, then all you got to do is donate to Patreon. It can be as low as the $1 perk and your names will end up being on that list. So Harshly Critical, his name is also going to be on this list, but as your Patreon title, so it won't be called Harshly Critical. So yeah, if you guys want your name to be on there, that's all you gotta do. And I'm gonna copy the names for patrons very soon, and then they're gonna end up on that list. And then you guys can be on that scrollable list too. And like I said, it always helps support the channel as well. So Cole says, get better. Well, get better, Eric. That's exactly what I intend to do right now. I'm sorry we couldn't do a 2-hour or 2.5-hour stream like we usually do, but I am just out of energy, and I really have to, you know, just recover. So thank you very much to all of you. Jess, Cole, Jake, Big Bash, Robin, Time Shadow, Connor, Rohan, I'm trying to see more of you, Classic Brickman, The Dark Lord, Selena, all of you. It was absolutely wonderful chatting with you again. Hopefully next week it will be when I am at full health. So thank you very much for continuing to support me and watch me on YouTube and everything, and I will catch all of you on the next live stream. Take care, everyone, and goodbye.